G'day there guys, it's your main husband Markee, yes, even the men out there, and I'm back at it again with another episode of r/Today I Fricked Up. Now, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and join my amazing community. You should also head on over to my subreddit r/Markee and post your own stories if you'd like to share and have them on this channel. With that out of the way, I'd love for you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some good content. Today I messed up by banging my first cousin. So, didn't happen today, but last weekend. Finally getting around to really processing it all, and I guess trying to deal with it. Went out for drinks with my girlfriend and met up with my younger cousin at the bar. We'd all hung out once before and had a great time. My cousin invited a couple of her friends to the bar too. We did some bar hopping. I got crap-faced pretty unintentionally. The last bar was, I swear, not putting any mixers in my cocktails. They were straight alcohol. So anyway, we're about to leave and my cousin's friends are trying to get her home, because she's crap-faced too. Well, my girlfriend was our designated driver, so we offered to let her stay in our spare room. Everyone was cool with that, because who's safer than family, right? Wrong! We get home, and I had to piece together some of this later because I blacked out for most of it, but apparently, initially, everything was cool. My cousin went into the spare room, and my girlfriend got her situated. The problem started when, a little later, I, in my infinite wisdom, decided to walk straight out of my bedroom with my girlfriend in it, and into my cousin's room. I don't particularly remember much, except for two details, which I guess are not important to the story. Well, okay, so one might be. I remember her giving me a very enthusiastic sloppy toppy, which, as you can imagine, makes a lot of noise. Apparently, after a while, my girlfriend came out of the room wondering where I was, because I just frickin' disappeared. She didn't barge into the room or anything, but she heard the noises, which is pretty fudging obvious. So at that point, she left. Like, me. She left me, and I don't blame her. Anyways, that means I wake up the next morning, having blacked out, oblivious that my girlfriend was gone already. But I'm freaking naked next to my naked cousin. There's cum all over the bed where her face was. She didn't even sleep with a pillow. There's obviously no hiding this, but I'm still half drunk. And I went to try to go sneak back into my room, which I found empty. So yeah. I haven't heard from my girlfriend all week, and I'm sure we're done, and I don't blame her. All I can hope now is that this crap doesn't get out to my family, because I would probably implode. No, my cousin and I are not going to start hooking up regularly. It's actually super awkward, and she has hardly said a word to me either. Again, I don't blame her. Roll Tide! Sweet Home Alabama! That was a good story. Javal says, have you considered joining Légion Étrangère, or the French Foreign Legion? Or some other military group that will throw you to fight some unknown conflict in the middle of nowhere for several years, teach you a new language, and give you citizenship of another country. That is probably your best option right now. Just start saving up to move far away from anyone who ever knew you. If my family finds out, I probably will move. Maybe even out of the country. Seriously, I couldn't handle a family reunion. You just casually stroll to the family reunion, carrying a bunch of alcohol and ask, who wants a drink? Hi, I'm here for the gangbang. Secret word, orgy. What? Not enough options at the reunions, or? Too many options. Definitely too many options. She's a savage for not sleeping with a pillow. Who does that? Honestly. I'm not saying there's a correlation between people who sleep without pillows and people who blow their cousins, but I'm not saying that either. As soon as I saw there was a girlfriend involved, I was really hoping that this was just going to be some weird threesome story where you ended up just having feelings for your cousin post-poke. But nope, there it is. You left non-familiar punani and went and covered your first cousin with her second cousins. Yep, that's a frick up! Ah, what the hell? Usually in TIFU stories, there's some shred of a defense explaining away what happened, but not this time. There was jizz everywhere, like where her face was. Yeah, bruv. A jizz chalk outline of some grisly murder. Jackson Pollock meets Keith Haring. Yuck! That's a freaking god tier image, I just want you to know that. Okay, last comment. I'm sorry for people that hate comments, okay? Honestly, the inordinately high frequency with which Redditors seem to bang close relatives, crap themselves in public, lose things up their body cavities, and leave their Bluetooth speakers on is shocking. TIFU by banging my married cousin and blasting porn on my parents' Bluetooth speakers while being poisoned by carbon monoxide, and now my phone is stuck up my butt despite having explosive diarrhea for 2 days because of the gas station dick pills that I took after drinking too much when my mum found my special coconuts. Ah, yuck. I'd read a story like that. TIFU by telling my grown-ass college students what contraceptives are at a conservative Christian university. I'm a grad student teaching freshman English courses at a conservative Christian university. Whoa, actually, that's crazy. At the end of the semester, my students have to present a slideshow proposing a change they think would make the world better. One of my students, Stephen, asked if he could make his slideshow about safe sex education being mandatory in all public high schools. Me, not even sure if I was allowed to approve a topic in favor of rampant and unchecked fornication among the youths of America, eventually told him to go for it, warning him that he'd have to be very careful about what he put in his slideshow considering his topic. The day of Stephen's presentation arrives. He marches to the front and begins his slideshow, entitled, The Case for Contraceptives. It's freaking great. He tells a story about bees, who, if they want to get some sweet, sweet nectar from flowers, without spreading any of their pollen around, they need to learn to wear little booties on their feet. I laughed through the whole thing and then turned to the class to discuss the presentation's effectiveness, but several students had blank expressions. Finally, one of the students, Goober, this student and his nickname is Pure Gold, but that's another story, raised his hand and said, Ms. Holt, what's a contraceptive? I started to smile, but stopped as I realized he was serious. I paused and remembered my life before college, shuttled in a bubble between homeschooling and church and youth group. We had a brief discussion about contraceptives then and there. The next day, my classroom behavior was put under review by my boss and my boss's boss and my boss's boss's boss probably, and I was warned I was under unofficial probation. Everyone at this university signs up as an at-will employee, meaning we can be fired at any time for any reason. Edit. Many people are asking why I choose to work at such an institution. I'll ask myself the same question until I graduate and leave. But in the meantime, I love my students and I'll keep trying to crack open their brains like my homeschooled Christian brain was cracked open when I first went to college. Also, several people have messaged me asking me if I go to their school, and they've named so many different schools. Ugh, this is America. Don't catch a Christian now. Look what I'm whipping now. Marshmallow says, I'm appalled that you're getting in trouble for this. It's actually kind of disturbing. Thank you for trying to teach your students. I hope they did more good research on the internet, because obviously no one else is allowed to teach them. Wow, how dare you educate as a teacher, lol. I get it's a Christian university, but you're an educator. If a kid asks a question, you give them the info you can. Well, I hope they don't fire you. You did nothing wrong at all. In our public school, teachers cannot bring up certain subjects, like religion, unless already in textbooks regarding history of the First Nations rituals. But they may answer all students' questions, regardless of what the question is. And our next post by Almond Chef 420. TIFU by making my one-night stand breakfast. So I got out of a bad relationship a few months ago, and only recently felt good enough to get out of the house again. This was my first ever boyfriend, and he turned out to be a piece of crap. So I was obviously a bit hesitant. But some old friends from high school were visiting my town and asked if I wanted to go out in a bar crawl with them. And I figured, frick it. It's not like anything will happen, other than getting drunk with some pals, so why not? At the first bar, we run into a group of guys from my university. I had seen some of them around, but never spoke to them before. One of my friends decides she's gonna force me to get out of my shell and drags our group over to talk with them. I'm extremely quiet, like weirdly quiet to most people, so I end up sitting in the corner of our booth and not saying anything, just drinking and feeling awkward. Well, one of the guys in the other group, let's call him Adam, is also being weirdly quiet. So my friends and his friends, who are already tipsy, decide to make things as awkward as possible by making us play truth or dare, except we have to drink when we don't want to answer something. There are a lot of personal/sexual questions neither of us want to answer, so we end up drinking quite a bit, and by the time we're done with the first bar, Adam and I are on a whole different plane of existence from everyone else. And it turned out we have a lot in common, and he was pretty cute, and we're goofing around and laughing the whole time. I started to get butterflies in my stomach, and not just from the alcohol. Adam has my exact sense of humor and is really sweet and kind. We wander off and start having deep, drunk conversations about feeling left out of things, and how annoying it is when people say crap like, "Can they speak?" I tell him I'm walking home and he offers to walk with me. I know where this is going, but I'm drunk enough that I don't feel nervous. Plus, I feel like I have a genuine connection with this guy. Our friends are wolf whistling as we leave, and instead of being embarrassed, I feel weirdly proud. So we get to my place, talk and smoke for a bit and do the deed. I wake up earlier than him and decide I'm gonna make a nice breakfast. I want to impress him and show him I like him, and everyone likes a good breakfast when they have a hangover, right? So I sneak out of bed and make scrambled eggs, French toast and sausage. I prefer almond milk, so I use that for the eggs and French toast. He wakes up and tells me I look just as cute sober. At this point, I'm convinced that he's the love of my life. He sees the breakfast and gets excited, and I'm like, yes, my plan worked. I'm gonna get to his heart through his stomach. We eat and everything's going great for a few bites. He then makes a weird face and clears his throat. His eyes start to widen, and he asks me if there were nuts in the bread or something. I say no, but I used almond milk. He jumps out of his chair and says, "Call an ambulance, right now." I'm freaking the hell out. He's wheezing and stuff and looks absolutely panicked. I ask if he has an EpiPen and he shakes his head no. So I call the ambulance and tell him he's having an allergic reaction and paramedics come and haul him off. This happened last weekend. I have not heard back from him since. I found his buddy and confirmed he is not dead. I guess accidentally triggering a severe allergic reaction does not lead to romance. I accidentally stabbed my girlfriend before we started dating, and we've been together for 8 months now, over a year since the incident. Just message him, I'm sure he doesn't hate you. How do you accidentally stab someone? Oh, it's easy enough to do. After about the 5th time it gets harder to do accidentally. I was in the kitchen carving up chicken for dinner, and he came home all kinds of crazy. "You been sleeping with the milkman?" And he came at me like a wild man, and then he ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 10 times. Chicago cell block tangoed. In my view, you're pretty cool. If he's the weirdly quiet type, he's unlikely to initiate contact with you, as he's probably quite embarrassed. And a suggestion of a nut-free meal is my suggestion. Coming soon. This. I don't think he's avoiding her out of anything else but embarrassment. OP should reach out. She should say that the nut is after the breakfast next time. She should say it's her turn to choke on the nut next time. Ah, lovely. And our next post is by user RatPackBrat, titled TIFU by telling my husband to visit a tramp, I'm guessing a prostitute, in Las Vegas. Last month, my husband of 15 years went on a week-long golf trip with his buddies. Before he left, I joked around with him all about the legal brothels there are outside of Vegas, and jokingly said, "Wrap up that sucker if you're gonna get some spendy strange." He goes, he golfs, he drinks, he comes home. Life continues as normal, which includes us having sex about once a day. My 44th birthday was Wednesday, and he went out of his way to assure that I felt loved and not as old as I was. Last night, I was in the bath when I noticed an STD-looking wart on my outer lady bits. Having never had a wart thing on my body before, I immediately decide the dude has cheated on me. I flew from the tub to the TV room and start yelling, accusing him of frickin' tramps in Vegas, and I all around lose my crap. I explain my new STD to him, and tell him he's gotta leave because we're done. I'm furious, I'm pissed. And he's just about pissing his pants to keep from laughing, when he walks over to show me a spot on his elbow and asks if my new STD looks like this. It did. Turns out it's a skin tag, which are weird flaps of skin that become more common as you get older. I've since googled it and it's undeniably a skin tag. He knew it was on me from prior visits to my nethers, but never said anything, assuming I knew about it. He kissed me on the top of my head and walked away while bent over laughing. This was last night, and he has not stopped laughing and is now referring to me as idiot, a name I have 100% earned. Edit. Y'all, my ridiculous and irrational overreaction is why this is a TIFU. Edit 2. My apologies to this wonderful man have been plentiful, sincere, and oral. However, we both keep laughing at how stupid I was that the sexy time becomes too goofy. Edit 3. We're happily married, guys. I may be a lunatic, but we're a great match. Thanks for all the advice for him to leave me, but as he reads through the comments, he's assured me y'all are more crazy than I am. Edit 4. Once a day on average, my guy's hot and getting more so every year. Lovely! And I loved this comment by Quinny by 1995. Semi reminds me of my girlfriend. Woke me up in the middle of the night after getting pretty drugged up from a day's surgery. Her. Get out. Me. What the hell? I know you slept with Leia, you piece of crap. Who in the hell is Leia? I don't know Leia. My friend Leaf, you frickin' jerk. I know you screwed her. I don't know who the frick you're talking about. Her. Passes back out dead. Fast forward 4 hours. I'm getting dressed for work, and she wakes up. Babe, who the hell is Leia? I had this crazy dream where I kicked you out for cheating on me with her, but I've never heard you say that name before. To this day, whenever I check my watch and she asks, got a hot date? I immediately reply with, duh, Leia's waiting. And our next story. TIFU by saying, so you ate a dick, to the city mayor. I worked as a waiter in the biggest restaurant of my city, and today the mayor came here for dinner with his friends and his wife. He drank alcohol for all the time, and at the end, he was drunk as hell. When he's perfectly lucid, he acts like a moron, so imagine how he could be a prick when drunk. At the end of the dinner, after hours passed insulting me and my co-workers, he asked for the fruit and said, Garçon, we want watermelon, and you better hope it tastes good. I said okay, and I brought the watermelon. He tasted it and says, it tastes like a deer. After saying that, he assumed the arrogant facial expression and a stupid smile, and I literally lost my ability to be calm and patient. I just wanted to jump on the table and slap him till I was out of strength, but I couldn't. My brain took control and said without my consent, so you ate a duh? The sad thing is that nobody laughed and I lost my job, but I was underpaid anyway. He lost his mind and he literally shouted, I'm gonna talk to your boss, after that you won't be able to pay for a piece of bread. I may be unemployed, but I'm happy. No one laughed? Such a shame. Wrong audience. Buttlickers who he calls friends or his wife would never laugh when someone burns him. You may not have a job, but you have your pride and a great story. Exactly this. It needs to happen more. People, I don't care if their occupation or status, need to stay in their lane. I think only in first world countries can you go ahead and call out some high official and not get in deep crap for it. Try this in some poor or third world country with rampant corruption, and you'll be lucky if you've come out without a black eye. And our next story is posted by user Euclidean Dream, titled TIFU by letting cat outside in the snow. Obligatory. This TIFU started about 2 years ago. However, the story does end today/now. So my cat, like many indoor kitties, has dreams of what it's like beyond the front door. Since she was a kitten, an open door has been seen as a dare. It can get pretty taxing constantly trying to catch her if the door's open for more than 5 seconds. 2 years ago, we moved somewhere with actual seasons, and in mid-January, she started making her way towards the door, beyond which had about 5 inches of snow. I figured she'd probably not like the experience and come back in immediately. Haha, no. She ended up rolling around, just outside the door, in the snow. So I scooped her up after a moment and brought her inside. If only I knew what had just happened. She decided she frickin' loves snow. She'll sit in the window and watch it all day. We have a balcony now, and in the summer, she wouldn't really join us out there. She'd just kinda stick her head out. Now that it's winter though, she'll come up and just demand the back door be opened for her. But we can't shut it. She'll just start scratching on the glass and screaming until we open the door enough for her and go back to her cat stuff. I'm sitting here with the door open, letting the frickin' snow in so my cat can knock snow off the plants. And I'm so ashamed to be in this hell of my own design. She's lucky she's so cute. You don't own the cat owns you. Can confirm, my cat chose us, we had no chance. And our last post is by user Christian Idol, the Christianity, that's it, titled TIFU by accidentally calling my fiance's uncle a fat ass every single time I've ever seen him for the past 5 years. Talk about manners. So a lot of my fiance's family immigrated to the US from Mexico before she was born. I've been with her for a little over 5.5 years. Although I've definitely picked up things here and there, my Spanish proficiency is inexcusably still pretty firmly at a no hablo español grade level. The first several years we were together, her auntie and uncle and their children lived very close by, and as a couple, we probably saw them every few weeks over that time. A couple years ago, they moved a little further away, and now it's more like once a month or two. The uncle speaks English reasonably well, but Spanish is his native tongue. So every time we've seen their family, I would greet their uncle with an enthusiastic, "Hola, gordo!" Obviously, I'm usually saying this in front of his entire family. A couple hours ago, I was getting dressed to take my fiancée to work, and she tells me, an overweight American, "Hurry up, gordo." Naturally, I ask her to explain why she's calling me by her uncle's name. So she explains to me, I said gordo, not gordo. Gordo, with an R. It means fat ass. I guess this situation is made slightly better by the fact that the man has never really appeared overweight. But I do recall a few months ago, we went a couple of months without visiting his family, and when we saw them again, my fiancé remarked to me that it looked like Tio had lost weight. Honestly, I think it's pretty unlikely that my constant bullying had any contribution to that. Someone would have told me, right? But it's not particularly fun to think about. Edit. After reading some comments, she almost certainly said something like, "I was calling you a fat ass," instead of "it meant fat ass," but because I'm an idiot, I conflated the two. Well. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode of r/TIFU. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!